Hey everyone, it's Mrs. McGrath. I'm here to teach you a little bit about fractions today. We're going to do an activity called fraction machines. If you want to do it along with me, you certainly can. All you need are some strips of paper. So this is just plain computer paper that I've cut into about 1-inch strips. So if you want to press pause and get some paper, you can certainly join me in this activity. Some of you in my classroom have already done this activity, as well as some of you in Mrs. Mentz's class. But we're going to kind of start from scratch and make sure we're all on the same page. So I'm going to switch my screen over so you can see what my tabletop looks like. So right now you'll see that I have my one whole out. Now this for today's activity is going to be our one whole, but our size of our whole can change. So if I'm telling somebody, wow, I ate a whole pizza, I need to tell them whether I ate a small pizza or a large pizza because the size of the whole can differ. So for today, this is our one whole. I'm going to take another fraction strip and I'm going to put this fraction or this strip into what I call the fraction machine. So I'm going to put it into the half machine. So I'm going to take this bar, this fraction strip, and I'm going to fold it in half. I'm going to rip it. So I took that one whole, I put it through the half machine, and out came 2 equal pieces. This is 1 out of 2 pieces. So I can write in words 1 out of 2, or I can write it like a fraction, 1 out of 2. And you'll notice on my one whole, I can write one whole as a fraction by saying it's 1 out of 1 piece. This is 1 out of 2 pieces. And this I could also say is 1 out of 2. Each piece is called 1/2. So the new name of the whole is now 2 halves because I have 2 pieces and they're each called 1/2. So I have 2 halves. I'm going to do the same thing with a new piece of paper, except this time I'm going to split it into thirds. So I'm going to put it through the third machine. So my one whole goes into my machine and it wants to come out with thirds. So I'm going to go ahead and fold, although that one's not very perfect, so let's try again. I'm going to try to fold this into thirds as perfectly as I can. And then I'm going to open it up. There's 1, 2, 3. So I have 3 pieces that are equal. I put in my one whole, I cut out 3 equal pieces. Each of these I can say is 1 out of the 3 that I need to make the whole. So I can write in words 1 out of 3. Or I can write it like a fraction, 1 out of 3. So now the new name of my whole has changed again. It's no longer one whole, it's no longer 2 halves, but now I can call this whole 3 thirds because each one of these is a third. So I had one whole, I put it through the half machine to start. I got out 2 equal pieces, they're both called 1/2, and the new name of my whole is 2 halves. Then I took a whole, I put it through the thirds machine, and I got out 3 equal pieces. They are each called 1/3, and the new name of my whole is 3 thirds. Now 4s are a little bit different. 4s are going to go through the half machine 2 times. There is no fourth machine. Because I want to have equal pieces, and I want them to be perfect, I'm going to fold it in half, and then I'm going to fold it in half again. So it went through the half machine twice. When I do that, I get perfect equal pieces that are now in fourths, although that's a little hard for you to see here. What sometimes happens is that if you are asked to cut something into fourths, or maybe draw lines, this is what I see. People start and they say, oh, this is about 1/4, so I'll draw a line here. And this is about 1/4, I'll draw a line here, and then here. And then we don't really have equal pieces. This piece looks much smaller than this piece. So when we're cutting something or ripping something into fourths, we want to think about putting that halfway mark first, and then cutting each of those pieces into half. So it would look like this. I cut that big strip of paper, or ripped it, I guess, into half. And then I ripped each of these into a half. And that makes my pieces much more equal, or close to equal. So I have 4 pieces here. Each one I can put as 1 out of 4, or I can call them 1/4. 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, and 1/4. Okay, so I put in 1 hole. We started with 1 hole. I put it in the half machine. I got out 2 equal pieces. They're both called 1/2. The new name of the hole is 2 halves. I started with 1 hole. I put it through the 3rd machine. I got out 3 equal pieces, 1, 2, 3. They're each called 1/3, and the new name of the hole is 3/3. Then I took my 1 hole, and instead of putting it through the 4th machine, I put it through the half machine and then the half machine again, so I could get nice equal pieces. I ended up with 4 equal pieces. They're each called 1/4, and the new name of my hole is 4/4. We could continue this process and do fifths. We don't have a fifths machine, so we would just have to kind of estimate and take our fraction strip and make fifths the best we can. And then we would go to 6 pieces. There is no 6th machine. Like the 4th machine, we want to do something to help us make equal pieces, and to help us, we could take that 1 whole strip and we could fold it in half. Now I have 2 equal pieces. Now if I have to get 6 pieces out of this strip, I know right here is half. So I know that there has to be 3 in this spot and 3 in this spot, which tells me I need to put it through the 3rd machine. So I put it through the half machine, and now I have to put it through the 3rd machine. I could have reversed it too. I could have gone through the 3rd machine first and then the half machine, and it would come out to be the same. Either way, I ended up with 6 nice equal pieces. It provides me with more equal pieces than if I were to just take 1 piece and try to estimate where I should draw those lines. If I start over here, I'm not really sure how big to make my 6 pieces. But if I can start by figuring out where a half might be, it makes it a little bit more equal. If this is my half, then I know that from here to here, I have to have 3 pieces. So it might not be perfect, but it gives me a little bit better of a place to estimate.